this is making something out of nothing, even from that respect.
Okay, Alex, let's continue on the disinformation theme and EU Disinfo Lab.
Since 2018, Mike, we have, of course, been reporting on the EU's disinformation effort, sometimes called EU versus Disinfo, here EU Disinfo Lab. What's their strapline? We gather, we source, we map. They don't proofread, though. Ana Romero Vicente is a researcher, what a grand title, at EU Disinfo Lab. And she has come out with this piece, the 3F formula of disinformation entrepreneurs. Make it fast, fake, and famous. And this is part one of her glowing series. It focuses on YouTube accounts. I think Brian might have some comments here because her first target is I. Earl Grey, whom she describes as an English expat, capitalizing the P twice, even though it's correctly spelt with lowercase right there in Earl Grey's own descriptions on his various platforms. I. Earl Grey is an English expat living in St. Petersburg. So we're told that he was rescued from irrelevance and obscurity by posting biased videos in support of Russia. Her third target, the second being Gonzalo Lira, who I recently appeared with, she says that he just hopped over from misogyny to get a new lease of life as a cheerleader for Putin. This third one interested me because PTE Geopolitics, World Gone Crazy, which has over 22,000 subscribers on YouTube now, I hadn't heard of either. So I think she has more of an axe to grind in calling this a more obscure channel, though certainly not negligible. I hadn't heard of it until last night when its owner messaged me, or I replied to an earlier message and said I would be interested on going on, because I always try, as we all do, to speak with third-party channels when we have time. And the reply I got was, well, I have been had by the EU Disinfo Lab, meanwhile. How do you rate this? So I looked at this and thought it was a very over-egged claim. And here we are. What Ana Romero Vicente has come up with is, here's her level of English. She quotes his biography and truncates it here. I am a young British. Wonderful, isn't it? I am a young British. And then she reports the owner of the channel, AJ, for the crime of seeking donations so that he can continue the channel. And he's naughty enough to be anti-NATO, anti-EU, and question refugees. Even Boris Johnson's resignation was instrumentalized, that's posh speak for reported on, to push pro-Russian claims. But if you tap that once more, what I'm particularly interested in is the conclusion that the very nature of the channels makes us at EU Disinfo Lab refer to them as entrepreneurs who found a business niche. So I would say this is depersonalizing or de-instrumentalizing their comment, their right to comment. And we're told that the follow-up in part two will report on people who criminally call themselves journalists and truth seekers and news platforms. That will be the focus of her follow-up. So you can see what's going on there. Just one more element to that slide is this. Alexandra Alaphilippe is the head man at EU Disinfo Lab in the Brussels area. And a particular request from AJ owning that third channel I mentioned there was, do we have any background on him before he became head honcho there? I can't find very much. So it's alex at ukcolumn.org for details on that.
Okay, and sorry.
I just wanted to ask you there, Alex, was the comment of the first of the two slides, was that actually they're reporting on I. Earl Grey himself?
Yes, it was. And they say of him, he regularly posts biased videos in support of Russia. Before the war, he was dedicated to producing content about video games.
Okay.
So they've seized a bit of his material, basically.
I thought it was important to say, I'm sure I'm correct on this, that he's ex-British military. But he gives very measured commentary with some humour, very dry humour, but it's always based on actual reports, whether they're written material from Russia or from the US or from Europe or UK, and video reports. And from all the editions that I've watched, he's been very accurate and astute in his analysis of what's going on. But I wonder why there was an empty bracket, because they didn't want to reveal that he was formerly British military.
Yeah, he's been categorized there as a sad gamer and put alongside the equally maligned gentleman in Kharkov, whose name has just eluded me, the second target there, the Chilean American, who is just described there as, somebody who used to bash women and has now found a new target. These men are being stripped of any backstory and any experience they have, in order to make them appear to be entrepreneurs leaping on a market opportunity.
And this must show us that some people are extremely worried about anybody who's brave enough to get on social media and give factual, truthful information. You've got to have the disinformation lab after you.
Yeah, and sticking with disinformation, then let's just bring the Times back on, because another spectacular headline from this morning: anti-vaxxers are a global menace who must be defeated. Now, I'm not going to comment on the contents of this in any way, but it was just the headline: anti-vaxxers are a global menace that must be defeated, because this is a clear effort to sort of tie Putin and anti-vaxxers together. If we look at the kind of headlines that we see, and recently Paul Ryan calls Russia a global menace, or the Times again, Putin must be defeated on a large scale. We see headlines like this all the time. So putting anti-vaxxers together with that narrative, Brian, is a clear effort to sort of demonize.
Yeah. And it's done in